I think I might hate this thing. Don't get me wrong. My phone has made so many things easier. Depositing a check, searching the internet, keeping up with friends, and content. So much content. At first, I was in awe. There were so many options as for what I could do with my time. The power of the choice felt almost like I had the power of the sun in the palm of my hand. But after a while, that freedom of choice felt paralyzing. If I chose to watch this, then I'm saying no to watching something better. This constant evaluation of opportunity cost is precisely how you end up scrolling Netflix for 30 minutes without ever deciding on something to watch. Now put that oversaturation of choice in your pocket at all times of the day. Sprinkle in my ADHD, and you get a hyper-concentrated cocktail of stimuli that leads to my dissociation. In my own life, nowhere have I felt this phenomenon more than my relationship with music. Spotify opened the floodgates for me, and with that came an overflow of choice paralysis. For sure, I found some good tunes with that app, but more often than not, I found myself just choosing to listen to what I already knew I liked. But at least I didn't get charged for that, right? I first signed up for Spotify when I went to college back in 2015. I had the student rate of $4.99 for about 3 years, till I pieced out to Ireland and jumped for the standard rate of $9.99 until 2023, when that jumped to $10.99. Then a year later, it jumped again to $11.99, which I paid until July of last year, 2025. This means I paid roughly, carry the one, add that, apply that, $1,174.68, and that's without tax. Worst of all, I didn't even get to keep any of the music. Recently, I was going through some of my old things, and I stumbled upon some items that gave me an idea. I found my old CD case, and while a lot of it isn't super to my taste now, at least I had it. The other thing I found was this, the first iPod. When I canceled Spotify, I thought I lost everything. But I hadn't lost this. I don't want to engage in a consumer system that feels designed purely for my monetary loss. I think I want to go a different way. I think I'm going to try. So here is the game plan. I am going to restore an old iPod and venture out into the wild in search of 5 CDs to try to rebuild a musical library. Here's the rules. We have to buy 3 CDs each episode with a budget of $25. Any leftover money rolls over to the next episode. We're only allowed 1 album per artist, otherwise it'd be too easy. No soundtracks, no greatest hits, no collection. We also have to find a kind soul to loan us 1 CD each episode. However, we are only limited to 3 CDs per person. I can't get them all from the same group. As for the last one, we'll buff out our roster with 1 from my own personal childhood collection. Once we've got all 5, we'll rip them to .flac files and load them onto the iPod. Tune in each episode to hear what I thought about the previous week's albums. So join me as I try to rekindle my passion for music and try going lossless. At the dawn of the new millennium, MP3 players were starting to build momentum, and it looked as though they had a chance at unseating CDs as the dominant way to listen to music. The only question was, who would emerge as the market leader? All that changed October 23rd, 2001, when Steve Jobs took to the stage to reveal a device that boasted its ability to put, and I quote, 1,000 songs in your pocket. Enter the iPod. The device took off like wildfire, resulting in an estimated 450 units sold across the device's 21-year lifecycle. They were sleek, simple, and yet somehow sophisticated, as a premium device meant for one thing, and one thing only: music. Oh yeah, we're gonna make an iPod. First things first, we have to open up the iPod. I had a bit of trouble trying to open the iPod. At one point I started trying a couple of different tools, and in the end, everything worked out great. But after much effort, we were able to open it. Now I just have to be extra careful not to tear the ribbon cables connecting the battery and the aux jack. Thankfully I was able to disengage the ribbon cable from the battery pretty easily. For some reason the hard drive was really sticky, which is annoying because that's the next thing that I have to remove. It should be as simple as just disconnecting the ribbon cable with a spudger. And just like that, it's free. I realized we got a problem. You see, I only have the one display. I didn't think to buy a replacement. What we're gonna try to do is we're just gonna try to lay this display down on this microfiber cloth and hope it doesn't get scratched up. I would really hate to buy another and have to wait on the new part being shipped. Before we can get to the display, I do have to unscrew the faceplate. And to do that, it's just removing 6 screws along the edges from the frame. Now I just have to pry off the faceplate. Now that the faceplate is free, I just have to transfer the display onto the microfiber cloth we laid out earlier. Now to disconnect the display from the logic board. And we're free. Next up, I have to remove the logic board from the frame. Unfortunately, the logic board is sealed with very, very strong adhesive. I'm attempting to apply even pressure as I attempt to disconnect the board from the frame. But I'm really scared I'm going to bend this thing, and I don't want to buy another logic board. It took some finesse, but after enough effort we were able to separate the two. Next up, I have to remove the click wheel from the logic board. The click wheel is also glued onto the logic board, so I have to pry it up with a spudger. However, I did buy a new click wheel, so I'm not really going to be that careful as I attempt to remove it. With enough effort, I was able to finally pry it up. My cat just wanted to say hey. I don't really know what got into her. Maybe she just likes the camera. Now I just have to plug our new click wheel in where we removed the old one.
It came with glue already applied, so it should just be as simple as plugging in the ribbon cable and then letting the adhesive stick onto the board. However, there was this grounding cable and I was a little confused as to what to do with it. Now that we've got the new click wheel on, I decided maybe I should start working on the back plate. For starters, I wanted to compare the batteries and make sure I had them lined up the same way. Next up, I'm going to go ahead and install our SD card that I pre-formatted using Rufus to FAT32 into our iFlash Solo. This effectively serves to replace our hard drive that used to hold the iPod's OS. I chose this method because SD cards will draw considerably less power than an actual SSD or a hard drive, and so I should get a little bit more battery life out of the thing. With that done, I just need to disconnect the DAC, as well as try to remove the locking mechanism without causing any damage to the cables. These cables are flimsy, and it is pretty common for people to accidentally tear them. Equipped with well-rested eyes and a hot cup of coffee, I realized that this thing is gross. Now I'm starting to prepare the back plate that we're going to be moving our DAC into, as well as the lock wheel. I decided to start with the charge port. I'm just taking the old one from the original shell. For some reason it had a hard time fitting into the grooves correctly, but once we got it in there, it looked great. Now I'm just going to try to reinsert the DAC as well as the lock. It should be as simple as screwing it in the same spots that we removed it from on the old case. After a little bit of elbow grease, I was able to secure the lock. And boy, did it feel good clickety-clacking. Next, I want to use some Kapton tape to secure the wires to the case. With the wires properly secured, next up I want to go ahead and secure the battery. For that, I bought some red double-sided tape. I should also mention, most of the components that I bought were actually from Elite Obsolete Electronics. They are not a sponsor by any metric. They are kind of a de facto place where you can go to get a lot of cool iPod replacement parts. And a lot of the parts I got here are from there. Now I should just have to secure the battery with this double-sided tape that we just laid down, and everything should fit in snugly. Now it's time for us to start reassembling everything.
To start off, we're going to reattach the logic board to the frame. I still am a little confused on what I'm supposed to do with the grounding strip, but supposedly, once you put the faceplate back on, that should hold it in place. I'm just trying to make sure that everything fits snugly. Now it's time for the part that I'm really scared about, the display. I go into my inventory to equip my spudger, and I succeed. The display has been reconnected to the logic board. That said, I am still going to handle this with the utmost of care, as if it were a newborn baby. Now it's time to start removing some of the screen protectors from the shell. Yes, the shell is rubber ducky yellow. Yes, I did buy it because it was rubber ducky yellow. No, I do not regret it. I think I made a foolish decision and tried to remove some of the black gunk that I wasn't supposed to remove. It seems like it was a border and it was there by design, but I didn't really realize that. I ended up deciding to go get some IPA to try to deal with it. I'm using 70% because I was afraid any higher would potentially damage the plastic. That said, with a little bit of grit, some IPA, I was able to completely remove it, and I actually think it looks better than it would have. And with that, the end is in sight. You know, if I knew how much work was going to go into this project, I might not have started it. But man, as we start to wrap up this last little bit, I feel very satisfied, and I'm really excited to see the finished product. I mean, this will be my own iPod. Something that I can rock out to, something that will be transportable. And honestly, something that might say something about me. I don't know. But I'm excited to see it all closed up. All that's left is to reattach the faceplate, connect the iFlash Solo to the logic board, and then seal everything up. But before our reveal, I think we'll go ahead and get the software installed first. First things first, before I can use the iPod, I do need to take the time to restore it. That's largely due to us installing a new storage device. All you have to do to restore an iPod to its old settings is literally just connect it to a computer and start iTunes, and then it has this nifty restore iPod button. After you start the restoration process, you just kind of go through a few prompts and then iTunes takes over. Now that iTunes has finished doing its thing, we can go ahead and eject the iPod, and then from there I can uninstall the software post-haste. The last part of this iPod build is installing Rockbox. Rockbox is a free open source operating system that you can install on iPods. One of the things that's really cool about Rockbox is it allows you to install custom themes and also play audio files that weren't natively supported on the iPod, including FLAC files, which are the files that we are going to be using to get our lossless audio quality. So I'm going to take some time, look through the themes that are available on Rockbox, and then once we have selected our themes, we'll go ahead and let Rockbox do its thing. And after all that effort, this is the iPod. I'm pretty proud of how it came together, and I think it looks really, really cool. I definitely like the rubber ducky yellow with the purple accents, and I even like the little white pieces that I forgot to buy yellow pieces for. Anyway, now all we have to do is just go ahead and load up our albums, and we should be able to see if everything works alright. With the iPod now fully built, it's time to get some albums to listen to. Since we only have a budget of 25 buccarinos, I went to the best place on the interwebs to get some good deals. I searched for used CDs and got to browsing before I found some guy selling off individual albums from an old collection. I combed through his listings and ordered a few records and waited for them to arrive.
What?
Yeah, so the first batch of CDs came in. The guy who I ordered it from ended up messaging me on eBay shortly after we placed the order and said he was actually on vacation and that he would ship them out when he got back. I was like, aight. So first up we got BAM! Whoops. BAM! Meredith Brooks. I have never listened to this album. I'm super excited to, but the only song I know is the song Bitch. Which, oh wow, that's something. Look at that. She looks quite sad. I find that there were a lot of artists kind of similar to her of this time. She reminds me a lot of specifically Alanis Morissette. But I really like the one song I do know by her, and I know that this was her best album, and, well, most popular album. I don't know if it was her best. Don't attack me. I'm excited to give it a shot, so I thought this would be a good starting point. The next album we ended up getting was a good old classic, Tracy Chapman, New Beginning. Now, to me personally, this is my favorite album of Tracy Chapman's. Fast Car is like kind of iconic, but for my money, I have sat through and listened to this album more times than I can honestly count. Tracy Chapman is a legend. Never listened to her. You should give her a shot. Oh my goodness gracious! But yeah, if you never listened to Tracy Chapman, definitely should give her a shot. She's great. Absolutely big fan. Wonderful music. Give it a shot. As for the last album that we ended up picking up, man, I was looking through the list of CDs available to us, and the moment I stumbled across this, I was like, we have to get it. Will Smith's Big Willie style, baby. I don't know why it says $2. I'm pretty sure I paid more than that for this, but hey, we got Big Willie style. We're gonna be getting jiggy with it. Anyway, I don't know if anyone's ever actually made it through this album in the year of our Lord, 2026, but it actually holds up shockingly well. There's a lot of cringe parts if you know modern Will Smith lore, but hey, all I gotta say is, if you've been wondering where this man learned to slap, it's in no other place than Big Willie style, baby. I mean, just look at that. Look at the aura. What's up? As you know, we need more than just 3 albums a week. We gotta grab 1 from a friend and 1 from a personal collection. Wow, that's kind of cool. Look at that focus. I'm a computer scientist. I don't know shit about cameras. This is all of the CDs that I own in the entire world. I thought we'd just flip through and find one that I thought would be, I don't know, different from what we've got so far. Whoa. Why are you playing on the mic? Don't play with that. All right. You're losing privileges there. This is what happens. I love you so much. I love you so freaking much. Prima donnas. Yeah, I'm talking about you. Tragedy averted. Back to what we were trying to do. A lot of this I had when I was in middle school, high school. A lot of this I don't think I would have today. Some of it I would. Fun fact, this disc right here, the Wreckers, I grew up in Nashville, Tennessee. I don't know why, but this album was effectively the soundtrack of my childhood. I would really like to add this to the collection, but I don't know if you're gonna be able to see it on here. We'll see. It's a little mangled. Oh yeah, look at that. Anyway, if we're able to find a new one of these, I probably will grab it just for nostalgia, even though I'm not a big country guy, but we'll see. I actually bought these like within the past year. Yeah, that's the Hamilton soundtrack. We like plays here, okay? Honestly, I think either of these would be good options to start with. Dolly Parton's Jolene is just like an all-time classic. Let me turn that around so you can see her in all her glory. Oh yeah, baby. But the other option is honestly, I think this would be kind of a sick album to add too. Not super sure if a lot of people are familiar with that, but that's Jack White's band. That's not the White Stripes, the Raconteurs. Raconteurs? Rancotiers? I don't know how to say that word. At some point, either of these are going to make it. I think for what we're doing now, Dolly Parton's Jolene is the most different discs, so that's what we're going to add to the collection. What's up? I'm down here now. No! That's not a toy. She keeps thinking the mic is a toy. I love you. As soon as I turn the camera on, she's here. Hey, bye. We still have to find a CD. From the wild, from a friend, from a companion, from a stranger. Thankfully, I have a really good friend who was willing to loan me their high school CD collection. I figured we would go through here and pick one out that kind of spoke to us. Oh boy. Ooh. What is this? Oh shoot. That's a Modest Mouse, baby. Modest Mouse. I like Modest Mouse. Rogue Wave. I actually don't know who the heck that is, but I kind of like that art. Modest Mouse. Modest Mouse. Modest Mouse. Modest Mouse. What the heck are you? Who the heck are you? What the heck are you? Anybody ever heard of Bark 32? However, I'm quite familiar with this. This is the Dark Side of the Moon, baby. That's kind of freaking sick. That's Pink Floyd. I like me some Pink Floyd. I will say I'm more of a The Wall guy than Dark Side of the Moon. But I know people like this one more, and I don't get it. This honestly might be a good one to choose, just to spend more time with it. Maybe try to start to appreciate the reason why people seem to really glaze and gas up this album over The Wall. I don't know, I just don't get it. I like The Wall. We'll see. That's a strong contender right now. That and Modest Mouse. Modest Mouse, The Moon in Antarctica. So I actually did ask Kat, the person who loaned me this, what her favorite Modest Mouse record was, because I did know going into this that Modest Mouse was her favorite artist. And she actually told me that it was The Moon in Antarctica was her favorite one. So this is a really strong contender. I would say it's this and Dark Side of the Moon as of right now. That's another Modest Mouse. That's another Modest Mouse. I wish this was real. This was a big moment for me. Was like I don't know. I grew up in country music land, Nashville, and so to me, like any other genre just was not super prevalent. But I really like this album, In the Aeroplane Over the Sea, Neutral Milk Hotel. I spent a lot of time with it, and I remember she mentioned that this was like, I think one of her first concerts. I think. Don't quote me on that. That was kind of a cool like bonding moment. I was like, oh shoot, I didn't know you liked good music. Turns out she likes really good music because all of this kind of slaps. Guess what? I'm pretty sure this is Modest Mouse. I mean, that's kind of sick. That's not a real album. But props to the art style. Look at that. The flaming lips. The soft bulletin. Wow. We got an artiste in our midst. I don't know what this is. But look at that. That's it. I do know what this is. And I only know what this is because of this. I'm pretty sure this is of Montreal's Hissing Fauna. Are You the Destroyer album? So I know she was a really big of Montreal fan as well. And I've listened to, I think, exactly one of Montreal album. So it would actually this would be a good choice too. This is probably number 3 behind the Pink Floyd, Dark Side of the Moon, and The Moon in Antarctica, Modest Mouse albums. But this is some good stuff. This is definitely not, home and grown Nashville country. Which I appreciate. Oh shoot, look. There's the soft bulletin, Flaming Lips. What on earth are you? I don't know, but I like the style. Is cool. The Apples in Stereo. I am unfamiliar with that, but I do like the art style. I think that's kind of cool looking. I am familiar with Pixies. However, I'm more of a Surfer Rosa guy than Bossa Nova guy. Oh man, look at that. It's been a while. It's another Modest Mouse. Granddaddy. A lot of Granddaddy representation. Maybe I should listen to Granddaddy. And I think... Yeah, that's it. Oh, we got Kodak. Alright, I think that's it. I think we're going to start with The Moon in Antarctica. Because I do know that was her favorite Modest Mouse album. And I know that growing up at least, Modest Mouse was her favorite artist. This is going to be our Modest Mouse record.
Now I just have to plug the iPod into my computer so that I can convert the albums to lossless FLAC files. Then the Wolfson DAC in this iPod should produce some awesome sounds for me to enjoy.
Now that we've selected our albums, we just have to go ahead and go through the process of digitizing them. So here I'm on my Linux laptop, and I'm going to be using a tool called Asunder. Asunder is a free open source CD ripper. You can use it to literally rip the metadata right off the CD, which is pretty useful. It goes ahead and looks for that CD through this CD database, and if it finds it, it'll grab the metadata for you. So you'll get the information of the genre, the artist, the album name, and each of the track information. It's a nice tool. I like it so far. So we're going to go ahead and go into the preferences real quick and ensure that we are ripping to FLAC files. FLAC stands for Free Lossless Audio Codecs. Effectively, this is how we're going to get our lossless audio quality. With that selected, we'll just go ahead and hit rip, and then I will catch up with you once we finish up ripping. Now that we've finished ripping our CDs, we just have a few more steps before we can throw them on the iPod. First things first, I still need to grab the album artwork. To do that, I'm going to use a tool called Strawberry. Strawberry is a nice little free open source music library tool that allows you to manage your music. But it has this very nice cover manager tool, and it'll literally just go out to the internet and grab our album artwork for us. And just like that, it's done.